interesting, actually. Let's introduce you to a filmmaker. Mr. Richard Roper, he knows a few filmmakers, doesn't he?
One or two.
And this is very interesting. Jennifer Beichwal is a filmmaker who does documentaries. There's a movie playing at the Music Box currently. I think tonight might be its last night. It's making the rounds internationally. It's been up for a bunch of awards all over the world. And Jennifer, by the way, is also the cousin of Ravi Beichwal, who works here at ABC7. And, but this is not why, Jennifer, we're having you on. Because quite honestly.
She's an upgrade, quite frankly.
You really are
Ravi.
an upgrade. Yeah.
You think so, eh?
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty hot ticket myself.
Yeah, we
so
love
does
Ravi.
he.
We
Yeah.
love Ravi.
But that's not the issue. You have done this film called Watermark.
Yes.
And explain a little bit. I know it's a little late notice for people to go see it, but this is going to be coming out on DVD and pay-per-view and all
There'll
the
be
rest
multiple
of that stuff.
platforms to check
Right.
it out. And Jennifer, first of all, I just want to say congratulations on this film. It's an amazing piece of work.
Thank you very much. It was a big topic to cover, as you can imagine. So we were trying to not be comprehensive, which would have been impossible, but to sort of find iconic stories of people interacting with water all over the world in different ways.
Right. See, this is the thing. It's about water. Now, you'd think they'd have made this movie already. About water, because it's water. It's 78% of the earth, 78% of your body. It's 78%. It's you got to have it every day.
Yep.
And yet you decided to find ways, because there's a lot of, and you're from Canada.
Yes.
And
we have a lot of water here.
You have a lot of water in Canada. And the Great Lakes are a big issue.
22% of the world's fresh water is in the Great Lakes.
Amazing.
Between the Canadian and American governments and the state governments and the province governments and all that, provincial governments in Canada, and trying to figure out a way to keep the drinking water safe and to keep it going. And I think one of the things that you're doing in this film is explaining the peril that so much of the earth could be like Waterworld, in a couple hundred years, there could be some real problems keeping fresh drinking water available.
Well, I wouldn't even say a couple of hundred years. I would say it's happening in parts of the world right now as we speak. And when you go to, one of the scenes in the film is in Dhaka, Bangladesh, which is does a lot of leather tanning, and 90% of the leather processed there is for export. So it's coming to the U.S., it's coming to Canada, it's coming to Europe, and there are no regulations about the effluent, which you can imagine the dyes and everything are pretty toxic, and they go right into the main waterway where, a few hundred feet down, somebody's having a bath. So it's a real issue. It's an issue right now. And I think that because we tend to take water for granted, especially here and in the U.S., where we do have lots of fresh water, not everywhere in the U.S. California, as we all know, has been undergoing a very severe and prolonged drought. So people there sure don't take it for granted. But I think the film was trying to allow you to meditate on the space of water and how integral it is to our lives, not just for life itself, but culturally, through industry, the way that we control water and bend it to our needs for agriculture, etc., and just give you a moment to think about it and have a little more respect for it.
Well, Jennifer, that's one of the things I love about the film is how it is this, literally, kind of globe-trotting effort, and some of these amazing visuals. I think you're kind of using kind of a super fast kind of digital camera, and then I want to get bogged down in the technique of it, but it's so striking and so beautiful, some of these overhead shots, but then, we get really close up and we see everything from this amazing team in Greenland who are drilling down into the ice, which looks like something, really out of a science fiction movie. And then you go to something like the fountains in the Bellagio and show that, that amazing waterworks display there. How did you pick and choose which types of locations you were going to shoot?
Well, first of all, regarding the tech stuff, and I won't get tech either, but we were using a new prototype of a camera that shot in ultra high resolution. But we also had helicopters. We had what you call drones there. We didn't call them that when we took them to China because it has a vague military connotation. So we called them RCs, remote copters, but
Amazing.
we used them. We used helicopters. We used lifts. We used poles. Everything that we could do to get elevation. But the stories, I mean, what we were trying to do was get all of these different aspects that were iconic of a particular interaction. So we used the Colorado River Delta, for example, to show what drought looks like, because the water from the Colorado has not consistently reached the Delta for over 40 years. So what used to be this vast, millions of acre wetland is now a desert. And you see, I don't know if you remember from the film, these trees of water in the sand that are actually the ocean coming up trying to find the river in the Delta and not finding it and then just dying out. Those were helicopter shots. So we were trying to give all of these different aspects from different places, and also the ones that were the most visually compelling. The Kumbh Mela, for example, which is a Hindu religious festival in India, every 12 years, 30 million people go to the same place on the same day to take a sacred bath in the Ganges. Now, that's the entire population of Canada in one place, and it was a peaceful religious festival for the most part. So you see, also in Northern California, the Sacramento Delta, I don't know if you remember that this human-made waterfront that is created by, letting the water into these, it's a bit complicated, but because the land is below sea level, the water can be brought into these, sort of human-made waterfront properties because people want to be near water. There's something in us that longs for that interaction.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful film. Congratulations on it. Again, it's playing at the Music Box tonight. I believe it's in its last night here.
Catch it on the big screen.
Yeah, if you can, you really should.
Yeah, it's a spectacular looking film, and it's about something that's very important, and you'll learn things about the world that you didn't really know. And like you said, it's a meditation on the importance of this thing that we take so for granted. That is, especially here in Chicago, because we wake up every morning, we look at that big, beautiful blue, or sometimes white when it's just filled with ice, cocktail in front of us, and we think, hey, this is never going away. But there are some real significant issues. Thank you, Jennifer. Again, congratulations. We look forward to this coming out in wider format.
Thanks so much.
Jennifer.
Jennifer Beichwal, director of Watermark.